The Sharks' even strength goes missing in the wild.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at San Jose Hockey Now. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, probably part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day, even when the Sharks offense can only generate 15 shots on goal in an entire game. But if you want to be an everydayer, all you have to do is just follow wherever you get podcasts, or you can watch this on YouTube as well. And the Sharks offense was putrid. Even though they scored 3 goals, even strength offense was nowhere to be found in this game as they lose 4-3. Cannot overcome Kirill Kaprizov's hat trick. So we're going to be talking about that, dig into the numbers of the game, and then we're also going to be talking about what Sharks fans should do, revisiting what Sharks fans should do, at least rooting-wise, when it comes to the Pittsburgh Penguins pick. So before we get into all that, do want to let you guys know that today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. It's $150 if your bet wins. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. And this game was very much, especially the first period, a sludge game, right? Two teams both on the second night of a back-to-back, both having to travel. Wild playing in Minnesota yesterday, the Sharks playing in Dallas yesterday as well, both having to travel to Minnesota. Very much the first period was a kind of sludge match, and the second period is where things, I think, the coffee kicked in. Both teams kind of found their way a little bit, and much more entertaining game in the second and third period. But the Sharks offense in this game was at even strength, was nowhere to be found. And again, this is a team that struggles to score goals, right? You're down Tomas Hertl, you're down Logan Couture. William Eklund did not play in this game with an illness. Apparently there's kind of an injury bug going around right now. Even if you listen to or watch the broadcast, Drew Remenda, the color analyst, sounded like he was battling through it. It sounded from Quinn. It sounds like it's kind of going through the locker room right now, which tends to happen, right? If you have kids in school, right? If one kid gets sick, it's usually everybody else. Like one kid gets sick, they're all going to get sick. So the Sharks, you knew that they were going to kind of struggle for goals in offense in this game. I know the Wild is not some dominant defense, and a lot of teams have been able to have offensive success. But again, the Sharks are so reliant on their, such a handful of players, your Duclairs, your Granlunds, Eklunds, et cetera, that when you're missing those, and if they're not producing, it's such a hard climb. And the Sharks got some production today from the special teams, right? You got a power play goal, Mikael Granlund, just an absolute dot. Nobody's stopping that shot. Duclair, great job on the screen there, right? Nico Sturm on the getting the shorthanded goal right there. Great job, nice job to kind of make it look like he's about to pass to Granlund or to Ryan Carpenter, excuse me, and then is able to snipe that bad boy. A little bit of shades of what we saw from last year, right? And if you remember, Stern last year was an absolute monster, especially on the rush, especially scoring those goals. We haven't really seen that from Sturm this year, but you kind of a nice little reminder. And just again, very interested if people come calling for Nico Sturm. So, and then Duclair, right? Again, another off the rush type of goal where he's able to kind of, nice play again. Granlund with the unofficial assist there with a little bump to kind of get him going out of the blocks there. Then Duclair just hits the afterburners, right? And Duclair's been really hot coming out of the All-Star break. Really, that we talked about during the All-Star break, right? You want to see Duclair kind of get that goal total up, hopefully maybe drive up that price a little bit. And Duclair has been doing that. But again, all these goals, right? Power play goal, penalty kill that's off the rush, and then the even strength goal was off the rush. The Sharks just unable to create sustainable offense, and there's the zone, right? And really we'll dig into the lines a little bit. The Zadina line was the only line that was able to kind of make anything happen, and it was mostly because of Zadina himself. I thought Zadina had a really great game today, despite not getting on the score sheet. But you saw how he's been kind of playing with much more confidence. I asked, this morning I asked Coach Quinn about kind of Zadina. He talks about kind of how he's been playing, not chasing offense as much and letting it kind of come to him. And Quinn feels that Zadina gets into trouble when he does chase that offense, but you're seeing, I think, the offense coming to him, and he's kind of picking his spots a little bit better, and that's why he's gotten kind of earned this promotion up to the second line, and I think he's been playing really, really well on the second line. And I want to see him continue to play well, and I think he's been rewarding the Sharks for his good play there, and I thought he was really close to having another goal today just because of the way he's been playing. But again, just unable to create sustained offense, just very little time in the offensive zone. And again, it's not like this Wild team is some like defensive, like you're not playing like Boston or Vegas who just like shut you down. The Wild have very much kind of more than happy to let teams get into it and score and stuff. But kind of get into these track meet games. But just it's a little bit frustrating because I thought the Sharks had much better sustained offense against a much better opponent in the Stars on Saturday. If you missed my Saturday episode, go back and check that out. Talk about some CHL free agents, a bunch of fun stuff, but was just a struggle to watch today. And it was very much a lot of one and done, a lot of just kind of choppy hockey, which again, both teams on the second night of a back-to-back. And we'll dig into the numbers here in a little bit, but I think the offense just kind of disappearing stood out to me the most. I will say, I think Kaapo Kähkönen had a nice bounce back game, especially kind of after the last couple games that we've seen from him, kind of coming in after in the Devils game when Blackwood got hurt. I definitely was not his kind of best performance in that game. And I thought in this game, I thought he played pretty well overall. The numbers aren't really super in his favor when we get, he had 28 saves on 32 shots at all situations. Gave up 4 goals, but expected goals against was 2.20. 4 for 4 on high danger saves, 7 out of 11 mid danger, 16 for 16 low danger. But again, Kirill Kaprizov, he's really good. He's a superstar, and that was the difference in this game. David Quinn said it. That was the difference in this game. The Wild had a superstar who did superstar things when they needed the most, and the Sharks just don't have that right now. We've seen Tomas Hertl kind of be that guy when the Sharks need him. Eklund has had some kind of really clutch moments this season as well in his first full season, and you're hoping you got one in the making down at Boston College, or potentially also getting one in the draft this year. But that's just kind of the difference, right? Is this Sharks team just doesn't have that guy who can, when the chips are down, when you need something big, come in and just put the team on his back. And we saw Erik Karlsson do it for the Sharks last year a lot, create some crazy plays, right? But right now the Sharks just don't have that guy. And hopefully soon, really soon, we'll be talking about 1 or 2 potential of those on the team here soon, in the next year or two. So, but yeah, overall, just frustrating from the offense there, as they continue, just again, I think guys having to kind of play out of place, right? Luke Cunnin being the second line center because again, they just don't have anybody else right now. So hopefully, and again, Eklund sounds like it's just a cold or whatever illness. So hopefully he'll be back for Tuesday's game. But yeah, just kind of is what it is right now with the Sharks offense. So we'll dig into the numbers. We'll look at the lines, how they performed, talk about the defense a little bit, and then we'll talk about the Pittsburgh Penguins and kind of what the Sharks should be doing right now as the Pittsburgh Penguins are losing 5-0 to the Oilers. So we'll be talking about how the Sharks should Sharks fans, kind of the pros and cons of what to do with what to root for, at least with the Penguins pick. So we'll do that here in just 1 minute. Get buckets with your first bet on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. It's $150 if your bet wins. Bet on all your favorite NBA players and teams with quick bets, live same-game parlays, exclusive props, and more. I know the Warriors didn't have the best Sunday afternoon game, but still, just keep betting on Steph Curry to do cool Steph Curry things, because there's nothing better than watching your favorite player do cool things and then winning some money on top of it. So just visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and shoot your shot. FanDuel, official sports partner of the NBA. All right. Let's dig into the numbers. And again, they were not kind. The Sharks had 15 shots on goal in this game. 5v5. We had 49 minutes and 50 seconds of even strength. 55-28, 28 shot attempts for the Sharks in this game at 5v5. That's not good. That's really bad, actually, to be honest. Corsi for 66.27 to 33.73 in favor of the Wild. 27-9 actual shots at 5v5. 24-8 scoring chances. Got the Kobe there in favor of the Wild. 7-1 high danger chances at 5v5. 1.76 to 0.61 expected goals for in favor of the Wild at 5v5. So, yeah, you're not going to win a lot of games when you don't get consistent pressure on the other team. The crazy thing is, like, the Sharks had 15 shot attempts in the third period. So they had 7 in the first and 6 in the second. Yeah, that's not good. The Wild, they had 20, 19, and 16. So the Wild had, much more consistent pressure. Again, it's not like that they were just some offensive juggernaut in this game, but and just Sharks could not get a lot of net front presence. And the Wild, I think, did a good job of that. And I also don't think the Sharks put themselves in a good position. A lot of just sloppy zone entries and, again, just unsustained zone pressure in this game. So as for the lines, the Sharks, again, went 11-7 with Kalen Addison kind of playing as a forward here. So the lines are going to be a little funky when it comes to zone to the time, especially on our good friend Natural Stat Trick. So the Zetterlund, Granlund, Duclair line played 11-25, 5 shot attempts, gave up 12. Actual shots was 3-7. Did have the 1 goal. Thanks, Anthony Duclair. 0.16 to 0.52 expected goals for. 2-6 scoring chances for. 1 high danger chance, gave up 2. 1-8-4 zone starts. So the offensive zone starts, there's not a ton of them because, again, you didn't spend a lot of time in the offensive zone. Zadina, Cunnin, and LeBanc played 10-55, 10-17 shot attempts in this game. So, yeah, again, the Sharks had 28 even strength shot attempts, and that line produced 10 of them. So almost over a third of the shot attempts came from this one line. So 1 to 7 actual shots, 0.04 to 0.37 expected goals for, 2 to 5 scoring chances, gave up 3 high danger chances with 4-3-6 zone start. So you're seeing as the Zadina line, I think, continues to play well. And LeBanc was, I expect LeBanc to be scratched again because I don't. As soon as Eklund is healthy, or the Sharks are kind of healthy-ish on the off and among the forwards, assume LeBanc will be scratched again just because, it's been whatever. I'm curious though when Sharks going back home if anyone gets the call up here, but we'll see. Hoffman, Sturm, Bailey played 449, 2 shot attempts, 4, gave up 2. Did actually have a shot on goal, 0.12 to 0.01, expected goals 4. And then, the other line's kind of not the greatest. So as for, the defense definitely was not Henry Thrun's best game. I thought he made a lot of mistakes, and again, maybe it's that kind of rookie wall right now. Like, he's been playing a lot of hockey. Maybe again, I wonder. I know the Sharks are beat up right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets maybe a game to kind of sit and kind of think about things. But again, the Sharks are just so beat up right now. They just don't have enough bodies. But Burrows led the way with at 5v5, 9 shot attempts, 4 9 to 50% Corsi. Hochuk was next at 44.4% Corsi. Ruda 38.89. The run 35.14% Corsi. And then Ferraro, 26.67% Corsi, and then Vlasic, 14.81% Corsi. So maybe Vlasic isn't fully healthy after kind of missing he missed a couple games he picked up an injury from practice. So it doesn't look like he's back to kind of what we had seen, at least, after Christmas Vlasic. So I thought the defense again, when you're giving up this many shot attempts and you're not producing that much, all the courses are going to be super off. So, it's just, very interesting to kind of see how the Sharks did tonight. So, Kirill Kaprizov, when he was on the ice, 27 shot attempts, 4. He's really good. He's really, really good. It'd be nice to one day have a superstar like that. I think you see, right? The Wild generally do have a bit better of a roster, but and tonight a sludge type of game. Kirill Kaprizov made the difference, and hopefully that's what we're rooting for. That's what we're trying to get to eventually. So that's why you lose all these games. So we'll dig into, kind of my thoughts on the Pittsburgh Penguins pick as it's creeping closer to a potential top 10 pick. So I kind of make the case for I'm going to make the case for the pick this year or letting it slide into next year. So we'll get to that here in just 1 second. If you want to get tickets for the next big event, whether it's a Warriors game, maybe you want to catch the Giants, after spring training starts, or go see a concert this summer, you need to check out Game Time. They have killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their best price guarantee. Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. The thing I love about Game Time is you know exactly what your seat's going to look like. Nothing worse than getting to an event and realizing you have bad seats. Actually, the only thing worse than that is when you go to check out and they other websites will slam a bunch of fees on top. With their all-in pricing, you know exactly what you're going to pay when you go to check out. They make buying tickets in seconds with 2 taps. And with Game Time guarantee means you always get the best price. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right. The good friends Pittsburgh Penguins, they stink. Losing 5-0 right now in the second period, second intermission to the Edmonton Oilers. The Penguins, who have really seen their season kind of go in the toilet here. But right, as part of the Erik Karlsson trade, the Sharks have their first round pick this year that's top 10 protected. So that means if the pick is 1 through 10 after the draft lottery, if the pick is 1 through 10, the Penguins can, if they want to, they can hold on to the pick and kick it into the 2025 first round pick, which is an unprotected pick. So no matter what the pick is in the 2025 draft, it's the Sharks pick. So, or if the pick is 11 on, the Sharks get that pick this season. So, and this has kind of been a big debate, I think, between a lot of Sharks fans is, what should we do, right? Should we root for the Penguins pick to be in the top 10 to get a unprotected first round pick in the 2025 draft, which is supposed to be a better quality draft than this year, right? This year's, it's definitely, talking to our friends, it feels like, you have Mac Celebrini, right? And then there's kind of a big pool of people between kind of 2 and 15. And then things, kind of start to slide off from there. But I still very much am on I'm going to call it the cash out, if you've ever gone, like to a casino, maybe you get up, you're like, okay, here's my $20. Maybe you get up to like 30, $40, whatever. You win a little bit of money. And then instead of keep playing, you just cash out. I'm going to take my winnings. I'm going to be happy. While yes, there's a chance for you to maybe win something better, there's also a chance for you to kind of see everything get worse. So I'm in very much the cash out mode of this. Like, I want this Penguins pick to be 11 or 12. I think 11 or 12 this year, combined with your own pick, that's going to be, 33, 34, most likely in this year's draft. And then this Devils pick, which is climbing and climbing and climbing right now. The Devils pick right now is currently 42. Like, so there's a very real world where the Sharks could have 4 picks in the top 40 in this year's draft. Gives you some flexibility, right? If you want to trade up, trade down, like, you have the ammunition to kind of do whatever you want in this year's draft. So if you want to maybe, if you're the Sharks and you want to trade it back into the top 10, you can trade your pick, that Penguins pick and one of these other second round picks to move up a couple spots. If there's a guy that you really want, right? That gives you that ammunition. But I know a lot of people, the other side is, well, the Sharks could have this could be the Sharks' very own version of the Stützle pick, right? Of a pick that turns out so bad it becomes the number 3 overall pick, and then Ottawa gets a superstar out of it. That could be the Sharks, and I see that, right? You look at the Penguins core; it's getting older. There's a lot of question marks, behind it. Like, there's a very real world where this pick could be much better next year in the 2025 and what's supposed to be a better draft class. My worry is, like, it could also be a worse pick. And I know the Penguins do have a lot of questions. They're going into next year. They're going to have to kind of, they've got about $18 million or $17 million in cap space projected, with 14 or 15 guys on the roster, or 14 guys on the roster, right? And, I know, like, they're going to trade Jake Gensel and replacing Jake Gensel is going to be hard. Like, there's, this team there's a very real path for this team to be worse. But there's also, like, I don't think the Penguins Kyle Dubas isn't going to just kind of sit around and do nothing with right now. I like this offseason, like as long as Sidney Crosby's playing well and Sidney Crosby continues to play well, like I don't see them just kind of sitting back and not trying to go for it, right? Very much like the Marlowe Thornton, Sharks. Like as long as those guys are on the team and producing and playing well, you're going to continue to try to go for it. And the Penguins, like if I told you if going into this season, if I told you that the Sharks have a better power play than the Penguins, you'd call me crazy. Guess what? The Sharks have a better power play than the Penguins do. This garbage, whatever you want to call it, Sharks power play, with Mikael Granlund, and they don't even have a defenseman running it half the time. Like they're going 5 forwards. Mike Hoffman is on the power play, right? In the year of our Lord 2024, Mike Hoffman is on a power play that is better than the Pittsburgh Penguins with Malkin and Crosby and Letang and Carlson. And like the Penguins power play is at 14.7% and the Sharks is at 18.5. Like, what if it's just that? What if the Penguins power play just starts clicking next year, and instead of being one of the worst, what if they're like a top 15, like an above league average power play next year? Maybe they don't blow as many games. Like there's just a lot, and even if they figure out their bottom 6, and again, it's a lot of your top. I know Malkin's not having the best season, and there's, but Carlson's still playing well. Letang's, I maybe starting to kind of take a step back a little bit, but if they kind of figure out the bottom 6, get some competent players around there, like you can see this team kind of continuing to play well. Maybe, and I don't think they're a cup winning team, but can they? And again, the East is very difficult. There's just so many variables with this where it could just be little things where maybe they'll blow some leads and maybe the power play plays better. And maybe, Malkin kind of returns to form, or, maybe they figure out the Carlson Letang dynamic. Like a lot of these things maybe just start going their way a little bit and they get a little bit better puck luck and just whatever. And instead of being a top, 11, 12, 13 pick that you're probably going to get this year, maybe then it becomes, what if they make the playoffs and then you're looking at like pick 18, 19, 20, or maybe they win a round and then you're looking at, picks 22, 23, 24. Like, so I'm very much in the cash. And yes, there's very much a world where this team just implodes, much like we saw after the 18-19 Sharks. They got really old really quick. They lost some key players, et cetera, et cetera. But I think as long as Sidney Crosby, who continues to play well, I'm going to continue to assume Sidney Crosby is going to be amazing until Sidney Crosby stops being amazing. So, and I think Kyle Dubas, he didn't come here. He didn't go to Pittsburgh to try to rebuild. He came there to try to squeeze one more championship out of that core. So I'm in the cash out mode. I would rather take, I don't want to go on the ride again. I want to take my winnings. I think you lucked out this year with potentially getting 11, 12, 13. And again, I know the draft isn't expected to be as strong as it has been last year or in next year's draft, but I'm going to cash out. I'm going to take that lottery pick and go do something with it, right? And especially in a year where you have a lot of ammunition to move up and down the draft board. I'm going to take that ammunition and potentially go in and get 2 top 10 picks in this year's draft. And it's a lot of question marks about the top 10 this year, but I trust my scouting. I think my career has been able to find, it looks like my career knows what he's doing when it comes to the draft, getting Will Smith, getting Quentin Musty, getting some of these other guys. I'm going to go to my scouts and say, guys, we're probably going to have I'm going to make sure we have 2 top 10 picks. Let's go do it, boys. Let's get the rest of this core. So that's what I'm doing. But that's going to be it for me today. We'll be back tomorrow with another draft profile of a potential top 10 player. So make sure you guys are following along for that. You can follow along wherever you get shows. And of course, you can watch on YouTube. You can watch You can follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter at MyFryhole. Until tomorrow, bye, friends.